What's up, party people in the house? We're back on Dynasty War Games. I'm Jesse Schneeman. I'm your host tonight with my co-host Chad Mendoza. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. How are you doing?
I'm awesome, man. I mean, this is the greatest thing I get to do all week outside of, like I was saying, it's the most fun I can have with my clothes on. So.
I hear you. Yeah.
So tonight we are going to talk trades, Dynasty trades, and we're also going to talk Dynasty. We're going to talk rookie trades, what we're doing in our rookie drafts as far as trades go, because I know that that's sort of a sensitive subject this year. Everybody's down on this class. So Chad and I want to share some things that we've seen and some things that we've done and, give you a little encouragement, let you know that there are trades out there. You just got to work it. If you're not hustling, then you're not winning, basically. So we're here to help you with that hustle, show you what's out there, show you what values you can find. And also, we're going to give you a little insight to some of the rookie auctions that we've done. Chad and I are currently in a rookie auction where we both had big budgets. We've gone up against each other head-to-head on a couple players, not too many. And then I'm in another auction where I really didn't have much draft capital. I didn't have much to spend, so I'll go over my strategy there as well. So.
Yeah, I don't know about you, man, but anytime any of the big spenders were kind of like bidding a player up, I was like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll avoid the fight and live to fight another day. Save my budget for another player, because there's so many guys that just there's not that much in between them for me. So
yeah, I'm
willing to take a loss on a Jamison Williams and go get another guy.
There's not enough difference between the top 15 players in this draft to me to really go all in. Right. So this is Patreon 11 that we're doing for Dynasty Warzone Patreon leagues. This is the first auction that I've ever done. Chad, I know, Chad, you're a little more experienced. It was also the first auction that I think Mike has ever done, right? Or maybe he had done one other.
I think this was his first one.
Yeah, it was his first one. Yeah. So it was tough, man. My startup went really poorly. I just overpaid on a bunch of players, and then Cam Akers went down in the preseason, and I was thin. So I just couldn't handle that. I mean, everybody looked at my team and they're like, "Well, if all your starters stay healthy, you'll be all right." And obviously, I didn't even make it through camp. So, I mean, that never happened. So I pulled the trigger on the rebuild. My strategy going in was get Mahomes at all costs and then figure it out, because I'd never been in an auction before. So that's just kind of what I did. I just wanted to get who I thought at the time was the best player. So I'm left now with Mahomes. Holy shit! Wow,
up,
Captain Mike Casper with the surprise appearance. So
pops into the stream out of nowhere.
Yeah, Mike was not supposed to join us tonight. I thought you were on baby duty.
No, I'm on Uber duty, man.
Ah, okay, right on.
I'm trying to buy this house here, and interest rates have gone up about 2% in the last month and a half. So it's made life very stressful for a new build house owner that started building today.
Oh, really? So you're not locked in already?
No, you can lock in until everything was agreed and stuff, as far as what we were adding to it and stuff. So, yeah,
gotcha. All right, well, hustle, son.
Anyway, yeah, it's the last weekend. Kids are here. Everyone's graduating this weekend, so
all right,
got to do it just in between rides at the moment.
Yeah, right on.
That's awesome.
Cool.
That's
Thanks
awesome.
for joining us.
Mike works at Texas A&M for those of you that don't know, and exciting time over there.
Well, you actually work for the United States Army, correct?
Yeah,
but
I work at A&M. Yeah, today was commissioning too, so I got to commission a lot of my cadets today, which was
so they all become officers, officers in the Army today?
Yeah, they're all second. Well, I mean, some of them, but yeah, second lieutenants today.
Wow,
crazy!
Great job. That's those are your kids. You have 100 kids now.
I know, right? No, it was really cool. It was fun. It was an honor. So
right on.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about was Patreon 11, the auction. right? So I went through my strategy real quick in the startup, which was awful, and that's why I'm in a full rebuild and I had so much to spend in the rookie draft. So do you want to, like, real quick, while you have a moment, tell us what was your strategy and where are you now, and what was your strategy in the rookie draft?
In P11?
Auction. Yeah, the auction.
He's not there anymore.
I'm not
right?
there anymore, man. I gave that to Austin.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, when he first joined, he really wanted in a Patreon league, and I was like, "Hey, do you want this one, man?" So he took it after the season.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what Austin did, but I'm sure he did.
I guess I didn't realize. All right. So what was your strategy with the startup, and where did you leave the team when you handed it over?
The startup went really in. I felt like I got a lot of good value players, but I also had a lot of older pieces. So I had like the Brady's, the Derrick Henrys, from what I remember. But I also had like Najee. I had a pretty stacked roster from what I remember. And
yeah, it was a pretty, I would say probably the favorite after the auction draft. But it was also one of those that, was pretty
beat up.
I guess, starting lineup heavy.
Yeah.
The depth wasn't really there, if I remember right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I lost in the semis. But yeah, the way the board kind of fell when the startup happened was just older players and things like that. And I was like, well, I'll take some old, some young, and because I know I waited a long time to get some players. So yeah, I'm not sure what Austin's done with it now, but I'm not sure if he went youth or what he did.
He has 0 picks. Or I'm sorry, he has 0 auction dollars. I'm sorry, he has 4 auction dollars.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I
think he legitimately has 0, but I think the system won't let you put 0 in.
Yeah.
So then he just got 4,
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I do remember a message from Neil letting him know that you can't actually spend that money. So he has not. I don't think he's even checked in. So the auction's going very interesting to me. It's just all over the place.
Really?
Yeah. Chad and I are by far dominating this draft, which we should. We both. He had the most to spend, and I had the second most to spend, followed by Young Buns, right? And then we also have. You'll find this interesting and hilarious, possibly, Casper. You remember Jay Sutt during the startup?
Yeah, no QBs,
and he just wouldn't spend his money.
Same thing in the rookie draft.
Well, he still has $735 to spend and no players.
He's the most out of everybody.
Yeah. Chad had $2,000. I had $1,700, and we're both down to like 3 something, right? And this guy hasn't spent a penny. It's just, I mean, I don't know.
How many players have you done?
A lot. I would say we're somewhere in the late second round, middle second round, maybe.
That's wild.
Yeah, I think mid-second is. I think probably around like maybe 2.6, 2.7.
Wild.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, and it's not like he's checked out. Like he comes in, he looks at where the player is, and he hits pass.
Passes.
Yes. It's okay. I don't want him.
Maybe he's just gonna grab all of the ones from the mid-second on.
Maybe we kept saying that during the startup, though. Maybe he's gonna do
like,
this,
are all
and
the
he just never did. What's that?
Or like Ritter and Willis and.
Yeah, Ritter, Willis.
I just got Ritter, and Jesse just got Willis.
Yeah, Chad got Ritter. I got Willis. Those were both bargains and a half, by the way.
Man.
So let's go through some of the picks. The 101 and 102 were Breece Hall and Walker, right? So Chad and I both bid on those guys. But the guy with the third most money really wanted those 2 players, and he messaged me privately. By the way, this is Young Buns. I love that name. I always love that name. But he messaged me privately and told me, like, I don't like this class, so I'm just going after the 2 running backs. I'll spend whatever it takes. After it happened. And I was going to spend whatever it took. So he spent $650 on Breece Hall and $600 on Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
and
just perspective, like the 101 is worth $500, right?
Right. And then it goes down, right, progressively from there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he spent his whole budget on those 2 guys. Hey, right on. It's like trading up.
Yeah.
And I was bidding pretty heavily on Breece Hall. I really wanted Breece Hall.
And I was bidding heavily on Walker, actually.
Yeah. So we were at 600 and excuse me, we had going like back and forth for like, $10 here and there, just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I remember I was shopping with my wife, and I was like, I don't really have time to be doing this. She's kind of shooting me evil looks. So I was like, look, I messaged him, and I was like, look, man, it's going to take $650 for me to stop bidding. If you bid $650, I'll quit bidding. And so he bid $650, and I passed
right on.
Wow.
I guess that's a way to get it done.
There you go. Interesting.
Right on. So he had 101 and 102, and then Chad and I have pretty much dominated the rest of the draft. There isn't a high first or like really even a solid first. Well, I'm sorry. Garrett Wilson then, right after that, came in and just bid Jamison Williams at 493. Right.
I think,
and I
he was
think
under
he just,
the influence.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was drunk and he just hit his whole budget and he's like, I'm in. I want this guy. And he hit 490. It went from $2 to 493. And everybody else is just like, we're just out. I mean, obviously that's a guy I wanted.
Yeah, I was getting ready to bid on him, and I was like, all right, what am I going to spend on Jamison Williams? And then I just see this monster bid come in, and I'm like, well, that ended early.
That's the way to get it done, rather than $2 here, they go offline. Another guy bids $2, he goes offline.
Hey, if you just throw your whole budget at one player, right? You get that player, you can just go back to the party.
You're gonna get him
and just have a good time for the rest of the night.
That's funny. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I guess next up, I spent $4.
I guess let's go through the So next up, I think was
London.
that was Jamison Williams was third, and then it was London after that. Yep.
Yeah. So London would have been the fourth highest. Chad took it 450. You feel good about that, Chad?
I feel great about that. I mean, considering Brees going 650, Walker going 600, and then Jamison going 493. $43 higher.
Yeah. It was at this point where I started to get a little nervous, right? Because I still have 1,700 and 4 players are off the board. Yeah. We only have 8. We only have 8 more, quote unquote first rounders.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't even consider all of those first rounders. So like the end of the first round is a little rough. So, I came in and got Garrett Wilson at 445 right after that and felt real good about that. So I've taken Garrett Wilson at the 103. I don't love it, but like compared to other years, but this year it's great. I was psyched just to get a player at that point because at this point players are going at crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Obviously, you think in the back of your head, well, it'll have residual effects later. Okay, but this isn't a startup. There's only, and I even sent Chad a DM and was like, man, there's only so many players left. What are we going to do? But we came around. After that, I guess Olave and Watson, both at 400. So why don't you talk about Olave, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, he was one that I was really wanting to grab. I have a decent amount of Olave, but I was kind of feeling that same pressure that you were feeling a little bit, where I was like, there's not that many guys left. I have a ton of money in this class. Right. I need to start buying players. So Olave at 400, I thought was a decent, bargain. Again, you have to compare it to what other people are spending on players, and I saw. Garrett Wilson going for 445 to you, and I saw Jamison Williams going at 493, and I'm happy with that difference for Olave, especially with the amount of cash that I came in with. So
right. So actually, I'm sorry, I got 2 players at that same. So next, I got Burks. Right. So this is my first share of Treylon Burks, and again, I'm feeling this pressure. So I spent 400 on Burks, and I actually feel good about it. I looked it up. That's somewhere around the 105 in this draft, as far as what we were allocated. So that's fine. I needed at least one Burks share across my 18 leagues, I believe, just, in case I'm wrong. Obviously, Chad and I have been pretty vocal about not being big believers in Treylon Burks. There's a chance he's obviously got a chance. He's a first round pick for a reason.
I think his floor is reasonably high. I just don't believe the ceiling. Yeah, I think the floor is and okay, let me caveat that. I think the floor is reasonably high if they predicate, what they're doing on offense for him. Like if they give him a designated role in this offense and feed him the football. He has
which I think they will, but well, I don't know. Like if he's not ready week 1, then he's not ready. There's
gonna survive the first day of practice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Brady already had to go to the locker room for conditioning.
That's an overreaction.
But do you really think Vrabel is the type of coach to throw out a wide receiver that's not ready just because he got drafted high?
I think he'll be ready. I think he's comfortable with what he's been asked to do. I think if you're selecting Burks at high like they were and then trading away AJ Brown, they looked at what he does well and they're going to want to play towards that. They're going to want to use him the way he should be used. And so that gives me hope that his floor is going to be, fairly high. I just think that the ceiling is not as high as a lot of other players in this class, just based off of that offense. I don't think that he has a high ceiling in that offense.
What scares me about that offense is it's so good because of Derrick Henry, and he's only got a couple years left at best, right? We don't even know for sure that he has another dominant season or even just healthy season left, right? So as soon as he's out of that offense, I don't care if you put in a Hassan Haskins, play action is not going to work the same way, right? And I think it's well known that their offense is built on Derrick Henry crushing people and then play action to a monster behind that, right?
Yeah.
So if Derrick Henry's not there, it just won't be the same.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll just add, everybody saw this offense and thought that it was holding back AJ Brown, right? And you could make a case that AJ Brown is the best as far as talent goes wide receiver in the NFL, right?
Nobody's as strong after the catch as him or at the catch point. Nobody has that strength. He's like Reggie White as a wide receiver.
Yeah, you can make that argument, right? So
yeah.
I just see that offense as something that was holding him back. And now you insert Treylon Burks and you're saying, okay, well, AJ Brown couldn't do it in this offense. Maybe Treylon Burks can. If Treylon Burks ends up the wide receiver 11, 12, 13, like AJ Brown was doing pretty consistently over the, chunks of games when he was healthy and everything.
Yeah.
Then I think that's a success for him. But I just don't see anything more than that.
Agreed. Yeah, and
I'm talking long term. I'm not talking about this season, right? This season, that would be absolutely unbelievable if he was able to do that this season.
Yeah, and I'm in a rebuild, obviously, like I've said in this league. So I'm gonna just hope he gets a spike at some point. Shows out for a couple games, and I'm trading him.
And I think he will because he's a flashy player. So
yeah,
I think
absolutely. That's my hope with him. Right, and then I went Christian Watson, and I absolutely overpaid at 400. I just wasn't losing him. At this point, I needed a third player, and I just wasn't. There weren't enough first-round players left. Olave had already gone. Actually, Pickett had already gone too, but just for less money. So, I just, again, feeling the pressure and took Watson. A little foreshadowing, though, it will pay off later. So, before we go on to the next players, Chad, can we talk about your strategy in the startup and what you're doing with your team now? Because I can't exactly look at your team and figure out exactly what's going on in your mind.
Yeah, so my team was interesting. In the startup, I went ahead and waited. I usually in auction drafts, I've typically had more success with buying early when people are really trying to figure things out. And everybody doesn't, especially with people who are inexperienced in auction drafts, they tend to be more, conservative early on. And then as things get later and they start seeing a pattern, then they start spending, right? Mm-hmm. So typically your deals come really early, right? The first few players, those guys you can get a deal on. But in this draft, it was really the opposite. I think people spent really heavily. I think because everybody was really comfortable with each other. Everybody was chatting up and getting excited about everything. So people started spending. So I waited. And I was able to just pick up whatever players I could get at a decent value. And I got some guys that I thought, put my roster in it gave it a chance to be a decent playoff roster, but maybe just not a top end roster.
I remember you had a ton of depth.
Yeah, a ton of depth, a ton of young players. And I guess what I wanted to do was take those young players that panned out, because they weren't like high draft capital players. It was just a lot of those second round, mid to late second round players that panned out. And so I just traded all of those guys away, basically.
Who are some of the guys you traded? Because you have a pretty decent roster, like a good roster, a lot of good players on your roster, but you also had a ton of draft capital this year. So
the most draft capital, by a decent amount, actually. Yeah.
So you had 2,000, which is equivalent to 4 101s.
Yeah, pretty much. So I traded around away guys like Amon-Ra, guys like oh man, you're putting me on the spot. I can't remember who else it was. I just remember getting a lot of guys like that.
Was that quarterback? You did trade away a quarterback. No,
I traded away Jameis
and Mac Jones.
That's right.
Remember that Mac Jones deal that we made on air?
I think it was Mac Jones for Debo.
It was Mac Jones for Debo in a second.
That's right.
I gave you my second for that. I remember you cursing me afterwards. It was like 2 days later. You're like, "Whoa, we made that trade on air? What the hell, man? I wouldn't do that now."
Yeah,
but, I think
it was one of those things. It was like right before people were paying a ton for Mac Jones,
and I think it's pretty. I still think it's pretty fair.
Yeah, it is fair. And Mac Jones' market has recessed a little bit. I was just, a little pissed in the moment because I could temporarily get more, So of course the trader in me was like, oh man, I should have waited a few days, and the perception had just gone like way up on Mac Jones right after. I think it was like he had played in prime time or did something where he played really well.
I sort of tricked you into that trade in a way. Because I was like, we were just talking about values, and I was like, well, don't you think Debo is worth Mac Jones? And you're like, no. Mac Jones, he's a quarterback, and you went on this rant about how he's worth more. And I was like, okay, well, how much more? And you're like, a second. Debo in a second. I was like, all right, cool, let's pull the trigger. And you're like, what? I was like, you just told me that's what it's worth. And you're like, all right, fine.
Yeah, I think it was fair. I was able to get Derek Carr in another trade, which helped out too. So,
I just needed.
My roster's pretty good.
I need another quarterback. I just, I need. That's the first thing I do. Casper's gone, but that's the first thing I do is build through quarterback if I can. I'm not going to force it. But if I see an opportunity, that's what I'm going to do. I only had Mahomes at that point because I traded Aaron Rodgers to Casper, actually.
I remember that.
It was like before the season even started, I think.
Yeah.
I got a deal on Aaron Rodgers in the startup because that's when people didn't know what he was going to do.
Yeah, when he was still deciding.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess with the team, I was really just trying to, find the values in the draft, and then once I was out of the draft, sell all the guys that I got good values on, that I didn't necessarily really believe in long term, or maybe just on a percentage basis.
Right on.
Didn't think it was very likely for them to keep that up, keep that value up. So got rid of those guys, got all that value in the draft, and now trying to get more, elite players, and I guess, maybe shouldn't say this on air, but just do more of the same. Sell off the guys that. Going into the season, maybe spike a little bit, and I don't think they can keep it up long term.
You should say that on here because that's what we're here for. So, honestly, as doing what we do, that's a sacrifice that we have to make. People are going to hear our strategies, and they might have a little advantage in some of the leagues that we're in because they have an idea of what we're trying to do. But it doesn't stop us from being able to do what we're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, just because you know why I'm doing something or why I'm sending you an offer doesn't mean, Doesn't mean it's going to stop me. And that's what we're here for. We're here to educate people. Like, I feel as though I'm going to impose my will on leagues because I have specific ideas and ways that I want to build my teams, and I'm going to do it through building value at this point, right? I'm going to make trades where I'm getting a player. It may be a fair trade now, but I feel like that player is going to build value, and when he gets there, I'm going to trade him off. Did that a bunch of times. I'm just biding my time for the season to start, and I probably have 5 players on my list minimum that I'm just going to trade off as soon as they start to show out. Michael Thomas, Juju, Cortland. Well, I might. I'll probably trade Cortland Sutton. Derrick Henry. There's just these guys that will once the season starts and you remember, that's Michael Thomas. I remember Michael Thomas. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I'll give him what he wants for that guy. I need that guy. You know what I mean? Like right now, you're not getting what you want from Michael Thomas. You might as well not even send an offer. Exactly. I haven't sent a single offer with Michael Thomas involved because why would I? He's a guy that hasn't played in a year and a half or whatever it is.
Yep.
So, but I mean, he's only
let me ask you
28. So
let me ask you a question that pertains to this draft a little bit. So, is there a player that you missed out on that you were just kind of, thinking maybe wouldn't go as high, and you were a little bit surprised, but you really, really wanted him? Other than let's cut out the Breece Halls and Kenneth Walkers and those guys.
Because those would be the big two. I'm looking through it now. Jameson, the crazy thing with Jameson, but that's sort of a fluke, so we can't really learn anything from that. James Cook went at 305. That's probably what he's worth. Not really, to be honest. I think the rest of these guys went about what they should go for. I'm sorry. Pickett and David Bell. Not Pickett.
Yeah, David Bell was the one for me. Yeah, David Bell was the one for me.
David Bell at 224?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, compared to his ADP, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. I
wouldn't be surprised if that worked out at 224. It's just, for what people have been paying for him thus far.
Okay, sure. I mean, all drafts are a crapshoot. And all you want is bullets, as many bullets as you can have. That's my strategy anyway. Make it sloppy wet. Wet it down with as many bullets as you can. And, with more chances, the more hits, right? You're going to have failures. So the more chances, the more failures as well. But the reason Neil did that, though, is because he was doing that with every player. He was just throwing out like 2-something on every player.
I think
because that's around what he had. And I felt like he was just like, dude, I'm getting one guy.
Yeah.
That's
what I was going to say as well, is like you look at all of those end of the first round guys, like very beginning of the second round guys, and they're going for around 300, right? Which is slightly more than he had. So he's thinking, okay, I'm just going to go and get the guy that I want, right? And I'm just going to throw out what it's going to take to get him, and get him. And I mean, you got to do that because he wasn't getting this guy more or.
No, obviously Watson went for 400, and he's the 9th, 10th pick in average ADP probably. Right now.
Exactly.
So then I thought you got a great deal on Pickett at 383, and then a really good deal a good deal on Sky Moore at 310. Yeah. Considering what guys were going for. But then things got weird, right? Pickens, I was bidding on Pickens, and then he went up over 250 and went for 289, and he's not worth that to me. He just has so many red flags that it's too much it was just too much of a chance. I noticed that you didn't go that high on him either. What do you think?
No, I'm not really big on the landing spot for Pickens. I like him as a player a lot, but I'm not buying that at 289. I'd rather have Sky Moore for 20 more odd dollars.
I like him as a player too. There's a lot of narrative swirling around that guy. It's hard to know what to believe with him. Yeah. So then there were some super deals, right? Explain to me what happened with Desmond Ridder.
So Desmond Ridder was a guy I wanted, right? Like, I'm going to get Desmond Ridder was in my mind. I was willing to go up to, 110 on him, thinking that was going to take. I mean, that's what it was going to take to get him. But everybody just stopped bidding at 65, and I was like, okay, he's going to go at 65 maybe. And I remember, I think it was like late at night, right?
Yeah, it was. I woke up and it was done.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I woke up and it was done, and I was like, so I got him at 65, okay, which was a little bit of a surprise to me, because the same thing happened with James Cook, where I went to sleep and I had every intention of trying to get James Cook, and I went to sleep, and when I woke up, he was bought at 305. So, yeah, I guess it just worked out.
Yeah, right on. One thing I don't like. Wow. All right. So speaking of this auction, it's starting to heat up on McBride right now. What's the highest you would go on him?
On McBride?
Yeah. Remaining budget for me is 364. I've already got 5 players.
You like McBride a lot. I
do. I think there's like a 1% chance he loses value in a year.
Yeah.
I think that the only thing he can do is gain value.
It's tough with him, because you look at guys like Pickens, right, who is at nearly $300. You look at guys like, who else is there? And then you look at guys like Mechie, who went for $52. We haven't gotten him yet, but went for $52.
Steal of the draft. I don't understand how that happened. You must have been asleep, taking a nap. Oh, you're out working.
Yeah. Yep. So
because I know you love him.
Yeah, I like Mechie a lot. But there's another guy I'll try to get into when he comes up, but not on the podcast. But when he comes up in the auction draft, I'll try to get
him.
Okay. But anyways, John Mechie, going for $52. That's an outlier, so you don't really pay much attention to that. But now Trey McBride's at 170. You haven't bid up to 170 going against Joseph Fry.
Yeah, I mean, we just went from 80 to 170 while we were talking about him. By the way,
yeah, and
I'm on it.
I guess it just depends. I mean, Jahan Dotson I got for 160,
which is nuts to me, because he's in the same tier as Pickens for me. Anyway, I know you like him better than Pickens.
Yeah, I do.
But, man, that was a great deal too. I don't understand. I guess some of the people that wanted to spend their money spent it, and the rest of these guys, I don't understand why they're being so conservative, because there aren't. We're starting to get into middle.
Joseph Fry is not being conservative here. He just bid him up to $200.
Yeah, you're right. He's all right. So what's your limit on Big Barad?
My limit was $50 ago, but your limit is different. I mean, you like the player more. So I know I would say, okay, we like the player about the same. I just like the other tight ends better than you do, I think is the case. Okay. So fair. Yeah, I'm willing to concede and go after a different tight end rather than spend a ton on McBride. But if you like McBride a lot better than the other tight ends, then you got to go and get him. We've seen the Pat Freiermuth of the world, and those guys.
I love
value
Pat
that crazy.
Last year. Yeah, I got a bunch of Pat last year because late second round was criminal. Yeah. When you consider some of the players that went above him. Although we got duped. We got duped on Trey Sermon. Or at least I did. Did you?
Yeah, I did too. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say duped, right? Like, I didn't really like Trey Sermon as a player, but you've got to take a shot at him, right?
What got me was I liked Trey Sermon as a system fit, and then he went to the system that I thought he fit, and they traded up for him, and it just screamed, "This is our guy." And they just didn't use him. I don't get it. And now they drafted another guy. So annoying. Yeah.
You're gonna take losses on these guys, right? Like, you just got to take shots on them. And
sure, second rounders for sure.
Shots on.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about Elijah Mitchell this year?
I sold every Elijah Mitchell share I had in season.
I only have 2. I won a championship with him though. So yeah, it was a big part of that. So That's why that team I knew had a chance. That's why, and I picked them up off of waivers. So I didn't want to. I just wanted to use them. But
that's all the more reason to trade him.
Yeah, and as it came out of my mouth, I thought that too. You're right. You're 100% right. Pick them up. If you get them for nothing, then everything you get is profit.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with Michael Carter in season. I'm just like, man, these guys with 4th, 5th round draft capital, I'm getting rid of them as soon as I can get first plus for them. They're gone.
I couldn't get anything I couldn't get what I wanted for Michael Carter. Like I couldn't get a high second for him, which is where I took him for some reason last year in the one league that I had him. The other league I acquired him as a throw-in. The guy just basically had threw him in as if he was throwing in a 3rd or 4th round pick. So I just got him. And in that league, serendipitously, you like that, don't you?
Yeah, loved it.
Word of the day. But serendipitously, I have Breece Hall. I have the 101 in that league, so I'll have Breece Hall and Michael Carter. I got as a throw-in, so it just feels good, to have that, to have a backfield lockdown, a young backfield. But otherwise, you're 100% right. I mean, Michael Carter's the exact kind of back that as soon as he starts to do anything, because he's undersized, he's never going to be a lead back because he can't. He just can't handle it. Nobody does at that size. And he had 4th round draft capital. So obviously they're using him now because he's the guy they have. Love the one you're with.
As soon as he put up that 30-point game against Minnesota, there were so many people just taking victory laps on Twitter and that whole cesspool, and then
I had no takers. I absolutely tried to.
Oh gosh, I sold him everywhere, and it was relatively easy. I mean,
I only had him in that one league. Everywhere else, I took Trey Sermon. I took him in one league. That was my, in case I'm wrong on Trey Sermon pick.
Yeah,
but so I don't mind having him because I still think that he's going to carve out a little sort of Kareem Huntish kind of role for himself, Eckler-ish.
I mind every if he carves out a Kareem Hunt role.
That's a ceiling.
That's an absolute best case scenario. But man, I'm gonna hate it if another running back goes in that offense is getting a decent amount of snaps, because what you were able to get for him, the middle of last season, I think that's a ceiling. I don't think he's gonna ever get any higher than that.
For sure.
I'd be shocked. I mean, I'm playing Dynasty for a long time, and there's just not very many running backs who have overcome that draft capital, even when they're productive, right? Even going back to Philip Lindsay and those kind of guys. It just doesn't happen very often.
Lindsay would have. I didn't play Dynasty when Lindsay was a thing, but I absolutely sold him in redraft. I was like, who is this guy? I picked him off of waivers, and then I don't know. I sold him for a tight end, I think. A good tight end.
Get what you can while you can, man.
Yeah, exactly. So Steve Gambino in chat, thank you, sir. Thank you that there's somebody out there as old as me and gets my references. Love the one you're with. Steven Stills, right? Of Crosby, Stills, and Nash fame. All right. So at least you know who Crosby, Stills, and Nash are, right, Chad?
Sure.
Seriously? Man. All right. I mean, Neil Young was with them for a while as well. I mean, you know who Neil Young is.
I know Neil Young, yeah.
Okay. Do you know who Bob Dylan is or the Beatles?
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Do yourself a favor. Go out and buy go buy a record album of just go on to Spotify and listen to.
I was about to say I'll go to the back room and plug in my time machine and
listen to Crosby,
make
Stills,
a trip.
Great hits. Trust me, if you like classic rock, you'll love it. So, anyway,
Mike Kinney just wanted to touch on this because this comment was from 15 minutes ago or so. But Mike Kinney says that a trade today in his league, Michael Thomas and the 108 for a 23 first.
That's jumping the gun.
Yeah,
that's jumping the gun, man. No, And especially 108's in the zone where, you get Pickett,
Olave, yeah.
Burks, in some cases, Jamison Williams, like any one of those guys could fall to you except for, Garrett Wilson probably isn't falling or Drake London.
I just got Garrett Wilson at the 107 in one of my leagues.
Damn, nice.
So you never know. know. These drafts have been really weird.
Yeah, it's also jumbled up. The 108 is in the zone though, right? I would not. Plus, like you're basically you're giving away Michael Thomas for nothing. Just for the perception now that, the 2023 draft is the greatest thing. Guess what? When we're in season and Michael Thomas is catching passes and is putting up his 110, 120 catch season, that draft next year is going to mean shit to these people trying to win championships. Okay. So that's when Michael Thomas is valuable, not now. Yep. That's giving him away.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's at least worth a wait, unless you're projecting that 23 first as the 101 or something close to it, then I can justify it in my head and saying, okay, I can get, the first running back available, next year. And if somebody has a god awful team or they're in a complete, shit rebuild, then yeah, I mean, I get it. But if you're talking about a mid 23 first or late 23 first, that's a bit rich for me. You're making a mistake.
Oh yeah. No, it's you're buying into the 23 first hype and you're giving away Michael Thomas for nothing, like I said.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Juju is another perfect example of that. So, and Allen Robinson is another example. So these are guys that got perceived bumps in value by their landing spot in free agency, but you're not getting that now. There's no urgency right now. Nobody's scoring points right now, so they don't care, right? It's when people are feeling the pressure to improve their roster because they're not scoring enough points and they're a middle or they're at the top of it, but they think there's another team better than them and they have to get better. That's when Juju on KC, that's when you trade him, right? And that's when you trade Allen Robinson on the Rams. And those are both absolute sells in season, by the way. But go on.
It's a sneaky kind of idea to keep in mind when you're making trades or when you're thinking about these players, these Michael Thomas kind of players. Mm-hmm. In my experience, I'm in a few high dollar leagues, and when you get close to playoff time in these high dollar leagues, people are trying to make moves and they're willing to give up a lot because they see that money and they want it.
Yep.
Right.
And I did it. I'm sorry. Go on.
People do it all the time. And if you can hold on to these Michael Thomases, these Cortland Suttons, the Allen Robinsons, until they get into their offense and they start having a few weeks of production and they start flashing a little bit and that offense still looks good, right, with the Rams and Russ over there with the Broncos now.
Jarvis Landry is now on that list.
Yeah. I mean, you can get some stuff if you're in these leagues. You just got to wait till the right time because these guys, I mean, the money's going to blind them. The money's going to blind them and they're going to make stupid moves. If you're in a league that's maybe like a one of those $20 league or $15 leagues that some people join up and stuff, then maybe those players don't. Maybe people are saying, okay.
Also depends on the prestige of the league, though. So, like in Patreon leagues, they're not worth a lot. In DWZ Patreon leagues, they're $20 entry fees, all of them. But I mean, it's a huge community that we have, and to be able to hold over everyone's head that I won this league is huge. Yeah. I mean,
that's a special its own thing, though, right?
Yeah,
like not many people have that. And if you don't have that, and you're in a bunch of $20 leagues that people just really don't, they're just constantly rebuilding every year and all that kind of stuff. Get yourself over to the Patreon because people try to win these leagues. People are competitive. Right, people want the bragging rights, and you got to get there, man.
These leagues are so cutthroat and competitive, and they're active as hell. I always say we had that Patreon 4-day where we had 20, 30 trades in a day. It was nuts, and that, it hasn't quite been like that this offseason because of this rookie class. It's such a downer, the perception on this rookie class. But, I guarantee in 3 years we're going to look back on this rookie class and we're going to be like, wow, those 8 dudes were hits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There are definite there's definite talent in this league. It's just, I mean, in this draft, it's just figuring it out. So, one thing I wanted to just bring up real quick before I forget, I'm looking at the note right now. So we've been talking about Jeremy Ruckert all throughout this process. Paul Perticizzi from DLF was the first guy that I heard compare him to Kittle. Do you agree with that? Like, comparison? Do you think he can beat Kittle?
I don't really ever like the, this guy is Kittle, this guy's AJ Brown, this guy's Josh Allen, the Josh Allen leap. Like I just really don't buy into any of that kind of stuff because that's like, the 1% of the 1%, right? Like it doesn't happen very often. So to get that,
but if you get a guy in the 4th, 5th round.
No, I'm not saying he's not a great player. Jeremy Ruckert's my tight end too. I love him, right? Yeah. Does he have a ceiling up there with Kittle? I don't know. I mean, that's a really high projection. I mean, you're talking about, at one point, arguably the most relevant, valuable dynasty tight end in the league, right? So,
right.
I mean, that's kind of hard to predict, but to say that his skill set is similar as far as what he does well and maybe what he needs to work on a little bit. And
well, in the situation where he's this very athletic tight end that just wasn't asked to be a pass catcher in college.
He's very good. He's very good. He's gonna find space. He's pretty athletic, very athletic. He's a good blocker. He's gonna be able to stay on the field. He's not gonna have a ton of competition. I don't care who the Jets brought in. I like everything about him. I think he's a steal wherever you can get him in the late 3rd, 4th round where he's been going, at least in
I've been getting him in the 5th.
I was getting him in the 5th early on, but like lately he's been going earlier for me. The last few drafts I've done, he's been going earlier. So I don't know if people are starting to catch on or what, but it's one of those things too. Like Mechie was going earlier, early on, and now he's dropping for some reason over into the mid and late 2nd. So
I couldn't remember if he was a 4 or 5 star prospect. He was a 4.5 from 247. He was a 98.981.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really high caliber prospect coming into college. And it's not like he disappointed at Ohio State. He was a very good blocker for them. But probably translates to a good blocker that could turn into an excellent blocker in the NFL. Actually, he just needs to refine himself. And
he had like 150 yards or something last year on 15 receptions or something stupid.
Wasn't used that way.
Yeah.
All right. So do we want to get back to this auction and then we'll talk about some trades?
Yeah, let's get into it a little bit more and then we'll hop off of it.
Yeah, just a couple more things like Malik Willis went for $50. So like all these guys that we talked about that went for under $100, $100 is what you get for a 3rd and a 4th rounder. That's what you get allocated for a 3rd or 4th rounder in this league. So seeing this, my strategy going forward has to be to always get throw-ins in every single trade. Like those 3rd and 4th rounders are so valuable in this league. Right? So for a 4th rounder, I got Malik Willis and John Mechie. What?
Yeah, I mean, you're late.
Doesn't even make any sense to me.
You're late to the party, man. Like, did you see how many auction dollars I had? Right? I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3rd and 4ths.
Yeah, right on.
That was my whole plan. Yeah, just go out there and get 3rd and 4ths because they're worth $100.
I mean, I did. I did. I mean, it was in my brain. I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 4, so I picked up 2 extra, I guess. But I did that with the thought of, it's just more dollars, right? And also the 212 I picked up. because I didn't care that it was a late second.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely interesting to think about, because I think a lot of players, or a lot of the Dynasty GMs, they went and they tried to go all in on one player, and it's kind of left a little bit of a void in these second round, middle of the second round kind of guys.
Interesting. So it's something to keep in mind. So it looks like I'm going to get McBride at 230. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. That's where I value him anyway. And I've been looking at the 364 that I have left, and I'm not sure where I was going to spend it anyway. It's really only him and Alec Pierce that are priority players left for me. Kind of like Zamir White a little bit. Don't love him. Don't really care if I get him or not. Pierre Strong's already gone. Don't really care that much about him anyway. Brian Robinson, I can still make a run at Brian Robinson if I wanted to.
Yeah, there's some players left.
A couple. A couple, but not enough for me to hold back on the only tight end I really love.
No, not at all. Not at all.
If
you love this guy, you got to go out and get him.
Yeah.
And and Joseph Fry still has he's out. So
yeah, he's out. That's why I'm saying it looks like I'm going to get him. I mean, he bid me up 150, so good on him. Good on him for getting that money off the board and getting a player to wear it. Because if I had just seen Mechie and Malik and Ritter go for what they just went, even Dotson was such a value. Rashad White went for 51, Pierce for 75. I'd be a little pissed myself and be bidding people up if I had the money, Yeah.
I hear you.
So right on, get it off the board.
Steve Gambino says Patreon leagues are the best. I concur. And then he says money's always nice, but it's bragging rights, which is spot on. Can we get a picture of Chad writing? Yeah, that's
like
not
gonna like Putin.
Yeah, that wouldn't be pretty for anyone.
No, even Melissa doesn't want to see that
similar body. Yeah, neither of us should be doing that. I
don't my god,
his whole thing was.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. They compared my body to like a 65, 70-year-old man is the best thing to do on air. But, whatever.
When you're what are you, 28?
29, yeah.
Nice. That's hilarious. All right. So, I mean, I think we covered what we got there so far. Not something I've seen, really, or heard. I guess I don't see podcasts. I hear podcasts. Not something I've heard on other podcasts. So I'm glad we went through this. It's a nice exercise.
Yeah, interesting draft so far.
Yeah. The next thing I want to do is go over a huge Patreon 2 trade that just happened involving one Captain Mike Casper and the...
Oh, speaking of, Mike Casper is joining the stream again.
Oh, Mike. Perfect timing. All right,
I've been here for like 5 minutes. I've just been listening and enjoying.
Okay, sweet. Oh, we got a holy shit. We have a spam bot in chat.
Yeah.
Naked HD XYZ F word Tinder. Visit us and be sure. Lots of emojis.
Oh god.
Well, there's no link though. Dang it.
Just try to click it anyways, Mike.
Okay.
Let us know what you find out.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. So we're going over your P2 trade, which was just huge with Neil, right? So Neil, so obviously these are very prominent members of DWZ Patreon. We got Captain Mike Casper and the what do we call Neil?
Notorious Neil.
Notorious Neil, but he's sort of like the administrator.
Yeah, I think that's what Memphis called him in the last episode that he did with Jerry.
Okay, so yeah, he pretty much runs all of these leagues. So Neil gets from Casper, Deshaun Watson, Jonathan Taylor, Marquise Callaway, a 2024 second and a 2025 second. So pissed at you for giving him that, Casper. But anyway, Casper gets Kyler Murray, DeAndre Swift, a 2023 first, a 2024 first, Tim Patrick, and a 2025 third. A lot to unpack there, Mike. Talk to us.
Yeah, I was looking at my shares, recently with Chad's great, threshold of 30%. I had a lot of Deshaun, and I know you were like, hey, you can hold until he's playing during the season. I was like, man, well, people are valuing him in the first of a startup still, or pretty darn near. Like, I don't know how much further up he can go. And he's going to be suspended at some point, whether it's this year or next year, at some point, something's going to happen,
Yeah. I feel like that's pretty easy to write out because it'll be at the beginning of a year.
I mean, maybe the room, who knows? But so
I get what you're saying. A suspension comes in or something, and then that can dip his value a little bit.
I just wanted to float out there because he's my QB3, right? And so Neil just comes in hot, offering Kyler right away, which I'm not the biggest Kyler fan, to be completely honest. I don't like his attitude. Like, maybe I'm showing my hand here when I'm trying to deal him next time, but I just wasn't and Neil was just hard in the nose trying to get Watson and JT, which I kind of didn't understand because I feel like his team is okay but not great. To get a high-end piece like Taylor was kind of
well. I mean, that's how you get great, though, isn't it? You get elite players.
I mean, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, how much more points per game do we think if a healthy Swift is gonna have less than a healthy Taylor?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Even if he's giving you 10 more points a game, even if you're getting a plus 10 between Swift and JT, that's not going to bring you from, that middle of the road team to.
I guess my fear comes in on Kyler though.
Yeah,
like, what's going on with this guy? He's the shakiest QB1 out there, if you ask me.
Perception.
Are you 100% sure he's going to be QB1 in 2 years? Is he going to get that extension and be the guy? Are we? Is Kingsbury keeping this job? Does that even matter? I mean, these are the questions that I have in my brain.
Kyler has done nothing but be a QB1. Like, how many times does a guy have to be a QB1 before you say, okay, he's a QB1? Right? Like,
it sounds like
is he gonna have to do it for 10 years?
Yeah, he's got Russ. He's got Russ syndrome. Nobody ever believes in Russ either.
Yeah, I mean,
he is short, so
yeah. Well, there you go. They're similar players, actually.
Yeah.
He was QB 10 this last year, and he missed 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the worry too. Is he gonna, But a lot of times,
Joe
most
Burrow
of the time,
missed the whole season. Like, what are we talking about? He's getting hit.
I hear you. Most of the time, that stuff just settles down and guys just play.
It's all perception, man. It's all perception. Like, there's a tad of truth to it, but it's so overblown. Like, I'm much more scared of Joe Burrow going from high-end QB4, QB5, wherever you have him, to absolute nothing because he breaks his leg again, right? Or shatters his knee because the Bengals are letting him get hit another 70 times a year, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough to improve that line this offseason, by the way, at all.
No, any elite quarterback behind that line is scary. It is scary. Kyler, like the injuries are real, but he's only missed. He's in year 4, right? And this is about to be year 4, and he's only missed 3 games his entire career. Like, we're so ahead of what's actually happening right now. It's ridiculous.
I mean, so if we're gonna say that, Kyler Murray, and I mean, I will say, Mike, if you're trying to down tier, if you believe in that strategy where you trade high end players for guys that are just a tier down and gain assets on top of it, then you did it masterfully, right? Because
I mean, is Watson below Kyler?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know. We don't know yet.
I have Watson above Kyler. That's what I'm saying.
You don't. But you don't know that. Like, there's nothing.
No, I don't. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about what's going to happen. What I'm saying
is, like, nobody can make a reasonable argument, right, that Deshaun Watson is going to come in this season and be better than Kyler, because all Kyler's done is be QB6, QB3, and then miss games and be QB10.
You did just say this season, and I mean, Watson.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you have to go off of history. You can't project based off of nothing.
No. But you say this season. I just mean, we're looking at 5 seasons with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, 5 seasons, Deshaun Watson can have another case and be in prison.
Watson hasn't played football for a year.
Well, okay. Well, Kyler
Watson
can break his
played
knee.
football for a year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's
is that good or bad? We'll see.
There's nothing that we've seen on the field to say that Deshaun Watson is going to step in and automatically be QB1 every year, because that's what it would take for him to be a tier above Kyler at this point.
Okay. So, but Swift is a clear down tier from JT.
Yes, Swift is a clear down tier.
Everyone is. Every single running back in the NFL is a clear down tier from JT's. We all feel as though he is on the brink of being a LaDainian Tomlinson level fantasy producer, correct?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just hearing that come out of my mouth tells me it's time to trade him.
Yeah. I've already traded him everywhere. So
yeah, well, I know you traded him to me,
right?
For a buttload, but I'm going for the championship in that league. I already had elite players, and I just added another elite player. I have a ton of depth, and I'm young in that league, and I'm going to trade that guy after I win this year. So
you mean after you lose to me this year
in Darlings?
Oh,
he's not in Darlings.
Oh no, that's the only JT share I have. Okay. Is what I'm saying. Is I just bought. But yeah, I feel as though he's the type of guy that that like when you're going after, that's how you win championships. If you really want to win a championship, you look at your team and you say, okay, I'm ready. I can win a championship team with this team right now. So why not add another elite player and increase my odds even more?
Hey,
that's why I traded for him. Otherwise, I won't.
Sorry, I gotta go in about 60 seconds, guys. But yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this. Great job tearing down.
I was just gonna say really fast. I just liked what I was able to get back. With a team that has Josh Allen, Mahomes, and now Kyler, with Swift and Dalvin Cook and Eckler and some other. I think I have Eckler, but some other pieces and 3 2023 firsts and one or two.
I mean, you have Kyler on the block. I mean, if you can get another, if you can get a low end QB1 and a first or two for Kyler, it's a huge win.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'll try to hop back on if I can after this riot, but I hope I don't see you. Nothing against you guys, but I need it to get busy.
Right on.
Yeah, hustle man. Go make some money.
All right, see you guys.
Later, Mike.
Bye.
At this point, we need to be sponsored by Uber.
Right.
So the only thing that I don't like about this trade for Mike, right? The only thing that I don't like, and this is out of his control a little bit, but if I'm tearing down from JT, I want to tear down more than Swift and get more, because I just don't believe in Swift that much.
But Mike has eyes on a championship this year.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you can still tear down even more from Swift and still get the production.
So, all right. So hypothetically, how far down would you go? Like maybe Eckler?
Yeah, I would take Eckler in a heartbeat. I think Eckler is going to
get another
Swift and get another first.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that
would be perfect. The perfect scenario for me.
Yeah, right. So that's hypothetically. But now let's look at what he actually had to offer. He didn't have anyone else. He's only got Damien Harris. Does that excite you?
No. Yeah, that's not even worth doing at that point. Yeah, like I said, it's out of his control, right?
His next first that he has to offer is 2025.
Yeah, like I said, it's out of his control. So there's nothing that he could have done. But that's the only thing. Like, if I'm being nitpicky and saying is there any part of this trade that I would rather see different? I just don't like Swift that much. I'd rather go a tier lower than Swift, and which I mean, I guess you could say Eckler's really not in the next tier down. Maybe he is in that Swift tier to some people.
No, he's going to be 28 this year.
I mean, just how people are drafting him, right? His ADP is pretty high.
Okay, I mean, that's fool's gold if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I think Swift is pretty volatile in some ADPs too. I've gotten him, I think, I've done one startup this year, and I got Swift in that startup, unfortunately.
Mm.
But he just fell. He fell too far. I had to take him.
I'll tell you, I love Swift. I love the ability of Swift, the talent, but he scares me. He just seems fragile to me. I know that's not an actionable. That's not actionable fantasy advice. He just does scare me a bit.
We haven't seen the production. Like we're going in year 3 now. You know,
well, he was good last year. What was he last year?
But a player being good does not win you fantasy football championships.
Right
a player being productive wins you fantasy football championships. I'm not saying he can never be productive. I'm saying for what it takes to get him.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
not paying
right.
For the production he's given thus far.
There's
like
no
I'd rather
way
take a shot.
Yeah.
I'd rather go out and get a guy that I maybe necessarily believe in a little bit less than Swift even, and then go and get a 23 first and try to get a running back in that draft class and take another blind shot at that draft class.
All right. So let's talk. All right. So let's talk for real. I have Swift in a league that I won last year.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be reasonable to trade him for the 102 and a 2023 first?
Yeah,
he doesn't have a 2023 first. A 2024 and a 2023 second? Am I asking for too much?
No,
so Ken Walker and then those 2 picks, is that reasonable?
I don't think that's too much. I also don't know that I would do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Should I?
Yeah. I wouldn't. I don't think I would do that. I think I would want more for Swift. But I'm also just not a really big believer in Kenneth Walker either. You know, I had him.
I don't think he's. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
I had him RB3, and then also with Seattle's backfield. Like, I just kind of want to see it a little bit first.
Seattle's backfield is I mean, if you
it's
you don't think Rashad Penny's going to stay healthy, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, there is a world where Rashad Penny is splitting carries with Walker this year. You know?
Yeah, but not next year.
I mean, everybody said that about Javonte Williams, right?
No, but are they going to resign Rashad Penny? This is his last year on his contract.
They resigned Melvin Gordon, and nobody thought that was going to happen either. Like the running back market,
that was going to happen.
Most people did not think that was going to happen. Javonte
most
Williams
people hoped it wasn't going to happen.
No, but it's exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what in the world of Dynasty, what everybody thinks is going to happen is what everybody hopes is going to happen, right? That's just how people work in this field.
That's a great point. That is a great point. That's one of the best things I've heard in a long time.
Yeah,
that's so true.
Javonte Williams, right? His price spiked because people hoped they wouldn't sign Melvin Gordon. And so then people thought they wouldn't sign Melvin Gordon. They talked themselves into it. And then when they signed Melvin Gordon, then his price tanks again. And then now, he's a pretty good buy, in my opinion.
So, but yeah, absolutely. Javonte Williams is absolutely a good buy right now if you can get him. I would say, though, that, first of all, people that own Javonte Williams love him. And they're just looking at Melvin Gordon as a speed bump. And you're still not going to be able to get him for the most part. You might find the stray owner out there that's panicking a little bit, but people. If you have Javonte, you love Javonte, and you are just waiting for that breakout, and you're not trading him. You're not trading him now. So I feel like that's just sort of one of those players where people just have too much heart. But also, I want to make the point that Rashad Penny is no Melvin Gordon.
I mean, I don't know. I think Rashad Penny looked really good last year.
He did look really good for a 3.
He looked really good. And so Mike Kinney in the chat
you
says
can't project that. You can't project that going forward. When you say that there's a world that happens, you're talking about the bottom 3% of possibilities, probably.
A world that Penny and Walker are splitting carries this year? I think that's
for the whole season without Penny getting hurt. Catastrophically hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a 3%. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people want to believe. It's at 3%.
All right.
But I mean,
That's not what I want to believe. It's
and
what
it also doesn't have to be the whole season for Walker's value to be repressed.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I'm saying.
I hear you. Like I don't want to go out. Like I don't want to be a Jerry Sinclair and just tell you that, Kenneth Walker is a home run 101 pick, because I spent all of last night on Dynasty Fever with Brian and Memphis and Jerry arguing about this. But I get it. I don't want to. So I don't think he's a guaranteed thing. Like if Kenneth Walker was coming out,
it's not about him being listen, it's not about him being a guaranteed thing. Like I don't think we're arguing the same point. So like, I'm not saying that Kenneth Walker is not going to be a successful dynasty asset 2 years from now. What I'm saying is that his value it is a high possibility that his value is repressed, at the end of this year due to him not getting a full workload, him being in a class that people are not really high on to begin with, him not being a cemented, first round running back talent like, people thought JT was and Swift was and those kind of guys, right? Like he's not quite in that talent tier in people's minds. People still think that there's a bit of risk involved. If he goes into this season and at the end of the season is RB 22, 23, high possibility he is, right? His value is going down.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same as it is right now.
Yeah.
It's just
I hear you. I'm hunting championships, and I don't think he gives me as much of a chance to win a championship as Swift. And this is a 10-team league. It's super flex, 2 tight ends. It's actually not super flex. It's 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and very short benches, and 2 flex. Right. So high-end players are worth so much more in this league because like depth doesn't matter nearly as much. So yeah, I guess all the extra assets doesn't matter to me. So let me ask you this though: Swift versus Breece Hall. What would you need on top of Breece Hall to get Swift?
Oh, that's a tough one. I really like Breece, but
I do too. But I think you have to add something.
No, you definitely have to add something. I just don't know what, right? Like,
I mean, if you add a second and I have Swift, I'm like,
I don't
Swift is young. I don't need to get younger.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a trade that I would actually want to make. I think I would rather bank on trying to get 23 and 24 first, and take a shot at running backs then, where I can get the draft pick, which the value is not incredibly high right now. Like the 23 firster, of course, the value is high, right? But it's still not as high as Breece Hall's value. Breece Hall's value is crazy right now.
But in a league that I'm trying to repeat, I can't just trade away my second running back or first. I have him.
Yeah, but I mean. Yeah, but you can go and get your Cordell Pattersons, your, guys that have 1 year upside, those kind of guys.
I'm not taking quarter. I'm
your
not
Derrick Henrys.
Well, all right. So Henry,
it's not about banking on Cordell. Like if you're trading for Cordell, you're not saying Cordell Patterson's my running back 1. Like you're saying, okay, I'm going to go and get 3 or 4 guys like that and make it work this year. In that spot, which I mean,
but what you're not understanding is I have like 5 bench spots.
Oh, yeah, that's stupid.
It's hard. It's a hard league. So I'm telling you that the elite players are worth a lot more than they are in other leagues. So yeah. I don't think I'm trading Swift for anything, to be honest with you.
No, I guess just keep him. I guess.
I mean, the only thing I would really do is
in that league.
Maybe
in that league, I would try to get JT.
Yeah, package Swift and some picks for JT. That's really
in that league. I would definitely try to get JT.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike Kinney. I actually wanted to talk about this guy. So Mike Kinney says that he'd rather get Carter for cheaper.
Michael Carter.
Yeah, Michael Carter.
If you can get him for a third, it's a steal right now.
Yeah, I think if you still have Michael Carter at this point, like you've made a mistake already. So you might as well just hold that mistake, carry it in the season, and see what happens with it. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying all off season. Sell Michael Carter, sell Michael Carter, sell Michael Carter while you can.
Michael Carter's not been. You haven't been able to sell him in the off season.
I mean, I sold all my shares in season, but
in season. Yeah.
I mean, before the draft was your last chance to sell him. I mean,
no. Nobody believed that before the draft. Right before the draft, it wasn't happening. Trust me, I tried.
Really? Well, yeah, I didn't have any shares, so I don't know personally.
I'm telling you, the one share I have in P2, nobody has bidden. Nobody has bidden for more than a second, and I got him for a second, so I'm not selling him for less.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, I sold him. I sold him all season long for first plus, and I think I took a first for him in a couple leagues. But
yeah, the problem is probably that Patreon 2 listens to us too much. Damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, right, Michael Carter's one of those guys that I'm just not very happy to have on my roster right now.
Let me tell you somebody, if you still have rookie drafts to go that are in the first round, if you can get a first rounder for Zeke, because people are like freaking out and I don't want to take this pick and I don't want to offer him Zeke. Worked for me. I got the 106 and took Jameson Williams. I don't think you can. I don't think you can get younger with an old running back better than that. You know what I mean? And he's not that. It's not even that Zeke's that old, but he looks old. And Pollard is just like drooling in the background. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that contract, they'll be able to get out of that contract. I don't know if it's this year, but definitely after next year.
Have you tried to buy Pollard any recently?
No, I haven't. That's a good question.
Yeah, he's a guy I've been trying to get. I actually, the one successful trade that I had this year in moving a draft pick, 22 first, was I traded out of the 109. Right, Olave went at the 108, and it was your Sky Moores, your Pickens, your Watsons, those kind of guys left.
Right.
And so I went and I traded that that first round pick for. I traded the first for Pollard, and two. Let me see. I think it was 223 seconds. Yeah, 223 seconds. And one of them should be very, very early. It's a rebuilding team that doesn't even have a starting lineup.
I like that a lot. Yeah, the second round should be pretty good next year. There's a lot of talent coming out. I know that you don't like to predict the draft a year out because everybody's going to go up and down, but there's a lot of talent coming out next year.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't like inflating prices of picks 2 years out and then saying somebody coming to me and being like, my 2024 first is worth more because so-and-so is in that class.
Right. Yeah. No.
Like, shut up, man. Like,
yeah, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. If someone, like, as soon as someone starts spouting any of that shit, it's like the 23 class, I don't care. That means our negotiation is now over.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we're not gonna come to a middle. Because I don't agree with that. So our values are off, and that's fine. You're dumb, and I'm not.
So what do you have his value at, Tony Pollard?
Tony Pollard this year? Yeah, I mean, what you got for him, I think, is more than what he's, or like what you pay. You got more back than what, like, So I would say 2 seconds. Late first, that 111, 112 range, I wouldn't mind having Pollard if I'm playing the long game. I'm not trading for Pollard with the 111, 112 to think that I'm going to win a league with him this year. Although, a little sneakily, that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the range of outcomes for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, every single running back got hurt and missed time except for Zeke last year. So, yeah, he's durable, but he also played with a torn MCL all year?
Yeah, I also don't think it's going to take it. I mean, it could just take an injury for Tony Pollard to see the field more. I mean, if we see Zeke struggling quite a bit, Tony Pollard looks like a better running back at this stage in their career, in my opinion.
Yeah, he does, in a lot of people's opinion. Yeah, I agree with you. He looks like he shot out of a cannon compared to Zeke. Like, I mean, obviously Zeke plays a different game. He's tougher and he's a low like he's got more power to his game, but he's lost at least. Well, like I said, he was playing hurt, so he didn't have the burst and the speed last year. Who knows how he comes back this year? If he looks renewed, I
don't care. I don't care about playing style. He just looked like a running back that wasn't able to get yards.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
I don't care how you do it. You just got to get the yards.
But he was playing hurt.
Yeah, he was.
And that's verified. He had a surgery after the season, right? So, I mean, I like Pollard. 111, 112, or 2 seconds, I'd pay for him. I'd even throw in a third, probably.
Yeah, I think that's a.
I'd trade Michael Carter for him straight up.
Oh, in a second. I don't think anybody. If anybody's still doing that, they're nuts.
Well, Michael Carter's a lot younger, so you can make a case for it. I don't think it's a good case. I wouldn't do it.
Michael Carter right now.
What's that?
I guarantee you, in most leagues, you're not going to be able to get a mid-second for Michael Carter right now.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like I said, I have the one share. I'm not trying to trade him. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm scared of what the response I will get. I don't
it's going to be the same response you got trying to trade Mariota in that.
For a 2025 first, I tried to trade him for with 10 teams, and they were all like, "No, you're crazy. No, you're crazy." I'm like, "Come on, man. This league might not even be around by then."
Yeah, but I don't think anybody wants to be the guy that traded away any first for Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, that's what it came down to. I'm going to try to get 2 seconds in season for him. Do you think that's realistic?
We'll see what happens in season.
All right, how about second and a third?
Yeah, I think that's a bit more realistic.
I only got one counter, and it was for a third. So I'm not trading him for a third. I'd rather just keep him. I'd rather he die on my bench, and I have to cut him, and he retires from the NFL next year, than to get a third for him.
There's a few players like that for me. There's players that I've missed out or I've spent a crazy amount for, and it's gotten to the point where their values dropped so much, like Michael Thomas, where I'm just like, look, man, you're gonna either have to get your shit together or just die on my roster because I'm not trading you.
Oh, that's Jalen Reagor for me.
Yeah.
That guy needs to shoot him. He needs to plastico himself in the leg with a gun. You know what I mean? For me to cut him. It's just not happening. And obviously man. I can't get anything for him. I might be able to get a fifth, and I'm not doing that.
Well, the Eagles can't even get anything for him. So.
Right. Yeah, they trust me, they tried.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a fifth for him, or they would have. Which is effed up, by the way. So actually, I want to touch on that really quick because I didn't get a chance to do this last night. I wanted to, but speaking of Jalen Reagor, some of us in the fantasy dynasty community have paid a heavy price on Jalen Reagor, and it's really set ourselves back. It's pretty much caused 2 rebuilds for me, right? So, I mean, it's a heavy price, but I want to explain the real life cost of Jalen Reagor real quick. So, Andy Weidel is the Eagles' president of operations, which means he's a peer to Howie Roseman, the GM. He handles everything that's not player personnel. He handles all of the business of the team, right? His brother, Casey Weidel, was the director of scouting and the guy that pushed for Reagor, along with the area Southwest scout and one other front office executive. Gone.
I was going to say one other former employee.
Yes, fired this year. These gentlemen lost their jobs over Jalen Reagor, and guess what? Jalen Reagor's still making millions of dollars. He's still got a job. It's kind of a messed up process, if you ask me. But I mean, the price we've paid is nothing compared to what these gentlemen paid.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's their job, right? Is to find the people who are going to do their job well. And when you don't find the people that are going to do their job well, then you are going to lose your job.
Yeah, when the stakes are this high, when there's billions of dollars,
Yeah, they're going to save the $7-8 million they're paying to Jalen Reagor. That's going to come out of their contracts. So.
Yeah. We did also
not something to laugh about. It always sucks hearing somebody lose their job.
Yeah, you know what? All of these guys will land on their feet. They're fine.
Yeah,
Trust me. They were all making 6-7 figures. It's okay. They lost their jobs, but they're okay.
They're all right. They'll live.
They'll get to spend a little time with their families and then find a new job. It's okay. It's okay. Look at what Daniel Jeremiah did, with his career of scouting.
Yeah, love Daniel Jeremiah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I do too. Actually, I just like how he. I feel like he is different, but not contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. It's real obvious when I hear somebody say something that's just real against the grain, just because they want to be. Daniel Jeremiah has his own thoughts on players, and that's what I like about him.
Yeah, he's a good. I guess he's a good middle ground between being that super clean cut, just surface level media personality, but also bringing in some of that, background, real scouting that goes on behind the scenes. That's what I really like about him.
Yeah,
it's he's kind of bringing the more intricate thoughts into the layman's point of view.
Right. Yeah. The other person that I like that's like that is Greg Cosell. Obviously, we had a ticker going on Dynasty Fever last night.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was up to 15 Greg Cosell mentions.
Oh gosh, yeah, they're gonna have to get a little money jar.
He's my boo. He's my grandpop. If he dies, once he dies, I'm in trouble. The other thing I brought up last night a couple times, by the way, this goes back to our Kenneth Walker discussion. How much longer do you think Pete Carroll has in number one, the NFL, and number two, this world? Guys.
Oh God, I'm not going to talk about a man dying, but I don't know, man. I hope he lives a long, prosperous life and coaches for as long as he wants to coach.
Yeah, but
Tom Coughlin did it for a long time, so
yeah, and the results were about the same as late career.
Yeah,
Carroll.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Well, I mean, it's always. I guess that circumstance was, coach aging with an aging quarterback, and being tied together.
Well, I think his philosophy was just archaic as well.
I don't think so at all.
Really?
Yeah. His
Run the ball
philosophy
and play defense.
I mean, this is not. Defense? No, he was. I mean, under Coughlin, they were throwing the ball quite a bit. Eli had, really, really, really good year. That's why McAdoo got the job after Coughlin left, because Eli had a career year in that offense. I mean, he threw the ball a lot to OBJ. OBJ had a career year too.
Well, I guess maybe it's more of the old school authoritarian, like the way he was.
See, but that wasn't even the same either. Fist. Like that's just the way the Giants organization.
That's what bounced him out of Jacksonville. Though.
Yeah, that was Jacksonville though. That was he wasn't coaching. He wasn't coaching in
right. I got you.
In Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess he was just the GM. I don't know. I feel like Sunshine Pete's days are limited, and if he goes before Kenneth Walker, who the hell knows what happens with a new regime?
I just want to know what they're doing at quarterback, because Drew Lock.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Their offense can't even move down the field at this point.
They should have drafted a guy. I mean, at least draft a guy like
somebody
Atlanta did, and just have somebody behind him. That way,
I might go with Geno Smith over Drew Lock.
Yeah,
at least he can run.
See, my whole thing was with Sam Howell falling to the fourth, right? Like, I get it. People don't fifth. People don't like this quarterback class. The NFL didn't like this quarterback class,
right?
But Sam Howell is not a fifth-round quarterback.
No.
He's not. So at that point, you might as well take him. You need a quarterback. Drew Lock's probably not going to play the whole year. you at least have a shot in the dark at Sam Howell and throw him in there. And if he finds success like Russell Wilson did, because nobody expected Russell Wilson to be what he is, then I mean that's what you should be doing.
I might rather have Bailey Zappi than Drew Lock. Like Drew Lock is a player that has proven that he cannot play in the NFL. So I would rather have almost any player than him. It's literally probably the 32nd starting quarterback in the NFL. And there are probably 10 to 15 backups I'd rather have over him.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to go that far, but yeah, Drew Lock's not going to cut it as a starter for me.
Who's Tampa's backup?
Trask, right?
No, he's third. They still have what's his name?
Gabbert?
Yeah. I'd rather have Blaine Gabbert than Drew Lock in a heartbeat.
Yeah, there's no difference for me. I mean, except maybe Drew Lock,
Drew Lock
maybe
is
there's
a
a few more
horrible. Yeah. I just it's insane that they have. I mean, I guess they still can bring in Garaputo or Baker.
Yeah.
I guess
who cares? This has nothing. We're talking about people who will never have dynasty relevancy. So
yeah, but what bugs me is that it now saps every other player on their roster from having any.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
What are we doing with DK right now?
DK is a buy. I mean, I've seen people get him for pennies. It's
really
crazy. I saw somebody trade the 107 for DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
I'm taking that all day.
Yeah.
I'm taking DK all day.
Yeah. That 107 player's got bigger. Like, you already know the DK is a stud. So, there's huge bust factor with the 107.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, Seattle sucks real hard this year and they take a quarterback next year.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't think it takes much to unlock Metcalf. He's such a beast.
Yeah.
Lockett, on the other hand, is such a sell.
Yeah. I saw somebody get the 202 or 201.
Yeah, that was me.
Like that for him.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I did in the same draft that I traded Zeke for a 106. When that guy came back up on the clock that I traded that with, I was like, because I saw him post earlier, like, man, I'm a little out of my depth here. I haven't done any research. I want some veterans for these guys. So, all right, F it.
Here's a veteran.
Yeah, here's a vet. Here's Tyler Lockett.
Here's a vet's vet. Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's make this the last question before we hop off. But
all right, cool.
Steve Gambino says DK for Waddle ?
Yes. I want the Waddle side.
I'm the Waddle side as well. I think definitely question marks with both, right?
Yeah.
But with Tyreek going into that offense, I think that scared people off a little bit. And I think Waddle's value has dipped quite a bit since that trade that trade was made. Was it a trade or signing? Signing, right? I don't remember. Trade, yes. Since that trade was made. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get Waddle before that trade was made. Like, you couldn't touch him. Nobody was selling him. And if they were, it was like, what'd you get him for?
Dobbins and Goddard. I got Waddle, a 2024 first, and Tolbert, I believe, is what you gave me.
What? No, you're talking about now?
That's the trade you and I made. That's the trade you and I made. Before Tyreek went to Miami.
No, that was after.
No, it was before. Because I also traded the 103 for Tua, and there's no way I was doing that.
It was. I'm telling you, it was after. It was after.
Was it after?
100%. It was after. Yeah.
Okay.
100%. It was after.
Okay. I don't value Waddle less because Tyreek's there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do. Like, I tried to get him in every league. That I could get him for a reasonable price, and I couldn't. He was not to be had.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna make that trade with you unless, I wasn't gonna make a trade with you But you knew exactly where to nail me with Waddle.
Yeah.
Because I had just traded for Tua, and it's just such a natural, beautiful hookup.
Yep.
And I don't. Like I said, I think Tyreek makes Waddle better.
Yeah. And I didn't want to trade Waddle for what it's worth. I didn't want to trade Waddle in that league, but it's a 14-team league. I'm competing. I needed two. I mean, I was getting two solid players back, and it's it's a full point premium for tight ends, getting Goddard there. So, Dobbins and Goddard.
And I'm in a full, deep rebuild in that league. So, getting the younger player works for me, and the pick and the other young player. It works for me. And also that Waddle's a wide receiver, so he'll age better. And obviously I needed to get rid of Goddard and Dobbins in a rebuild. I can't keep those guys.
Yep. Yeah.
In fact, also the only reason I got Tolbert is because I made you take Gus Edwards as well.
That's right.
Them on you.
That's right.
I knew you didn't want him at all, and I was like, it doesn't matter. This trade's only happening if you take him. Because you were trying to give me Kyle Phillips, who I didn't even know at the time who he was. We discussed this on air. I didn't even know, and you have since apologized.
Well, I told you he could go in the third or fourth, and where did he go?
Fifth.
Did he go in the fifth? I thought he went in the fourth.
Yes. No, he didn't.
Well, he could have gone in the fourth.
He could have, but didn't.
Yeah.
If my aunt had uncles, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
I was just letting you know where he could go.
Yeah, I hear you. But
anyways,
all right.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to end this thing.
Yeah, I think we nailed it.
Well, don't give yourself too many pats on the back.
Well, look, I'm getting good at this shit, man. I don't know what to tell you. No, seriously, this is good though. You brought up some really, really good points, and I always love how you throw out counterpoints to my holy shit. All right, can you just throw up the last comment in chat?
Oh
please?
Gosh, Cole. Stop extending the show. I have to go get dinner.
McGruber, you're dead to me.
Cole McGregor says James Harden of Ben Simmons.
His name is McGruber, first of all. And I beat him in Patreon 10 for the championship. And that's all we need to talk about. You go flag.
Or I guess he meant or Ben Simmons.
James Harden or Ben Simmons. I don't know. You know what? Go fly a kite, McGruber. All right, man. Hopefully next week we're going to have Captain Mike back because I think he's on leave. And we're going to actually play some games.
We say that every week.
Well,
next week Mike's coming back.
Well,
let's just hold off until he comes back.
We were supposed to have Jerry tonight, but his wife pulled the trump card. And always wives win. I wasn't even arguing with that. And we try actually same thing with Dallas. His girlfriend pulled the trump card, so they're going out with another couple, so we couldn't get him either. One way or another, we're getting a third person on next week, and I'm going to put together the hit rate game. All right, so nice. What I want to do is go back through the last 5 years and find percentages on hit rates with specific parameters that we'll discuss, and go through some of those players and what you're likely to get with the top 12 picks in your rookie drafts.
Sounds like a good time, man.
Right on. And eventually we're going to get this fantasy court going too, because we have a lot of teams that need to defend their off seasons. And I have studied my Southern judge accent.
Oh, save it, Jesse. Save it. Don't give away the sauce yet, man.
All right, Chad, man. Thank you so much for joining me. This is fun. Fun as hell. I needed this.
Sure thing, man. Yeah, it was a good time.
All right. So have a great night. And everybody, thanks for joining us. You can find us at DWZ _ War Games. You can find Chad on Twitter at some point at some specific handle because he doesn't care. And you can find me also with Brian Ford on Dynasty Fever once a week. We don't have a day, but that's about it. Everybody have a great night. Thank you.
Later.